Welcome to the Carolinian newspaper's digital broadcast for October 13th, 2025. I'm Zari, and these are the headlines. Voting rights and race have always been in lockstep in this country. But now, with the Supreme Court dissecting landmark legislation and states drawing voting maps in pencil, we are not sure what we will be presented with in the voting booth on Election Day. Also, our president has a new brand. And it's a holiday, but what should we call it? Lastly, Cam Newton gets a huge honor from his alma mater. Let's dive in. Several states have decided to redraw their voting maps ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Texas, California, and Missouri have all jumped into the deep end of the redistricting pool, and North Carolina is disrobing to join them. Today, the Republican-led legislature announced plans to vote on redrawing the state's U.S. House district map. They already created a map in 2023 that resulted in GOP candidates winning 10 of the state's 14 U.S. House seats in 2024. Now, only one of the state's House districts, the 1st District, currently represented by Democratic Representative Don Davis, is considered a swing district and could be targeted by the GOP for an 11th seat. Representative Davis's district covers the northeastern part of North Carolina. That happens to also be the area of the state with the largest concentration of African Americans. Davis won a second term last year by less than 2 percentage points, so slightly shifting portions of the district, which covers nearly 20 northeastern counties, could definitely help a Republican candidate's path to victory in the 1st District. We will wait to see how this plays out next week in the vote to redraw the maps. Also in government, President Trump is rolling out a new product. Back in September, the president announced a new drug pricing deal with Pfizer. The deal is to sell its drugs directly to consumers at discounted prices. Pfizer's products will be available through a website operated by the federal government called TrumpRx. Yep, TrumpRx. The TrumpRx.gov website is expected to launch sometime in 2026 and would take consumers to pharmaceutical companies' direct-to-consumer websites to fulfill orders. Direct-to-consumer prices for Pfizer drugs on TrumpRx will be 50% lower on average. This is great news for people that use Pfizer's vaccines, antibiotics, cardiovascular drugs, and other treatments. Hopefully, this new branded program will alleviate some of the stress on our financially burdened neighbors who are struggling with healthcare costs. Trump has also stuck a deal with AstraZeneca under similar terms. In school, we are taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America. As adults, we know better. When Columbus arrived in the world that was new to him, there were already people here. There were thriving societies of people living in both North and South America. What Columbus discovered was an opportunity. But should we really celebrate his accidental discovery? His actions led to the destruction of Native Americans, as well as the transatlantic slave trade, the global spread diseases, and centuries of oppression for minority groups. President Trump issued a proclamation that stated Christopher Columbus was, quote, the original American hero, a giant of Western civilization, and one of the most gallant and visionary men to ever walk the face of the earth. Technically, he was a catalyst for Western dominance and put our current history into motion. But should that be celebrated or just acknowledged? Many have chosen to celebrate today in memory of those who Christopher Columbus's actions directly affected. Indigenous Peoples Day has become widely celebrated in many cities and states across the country. The shift reflects a growing national effort to recognize Native American history and resilience over honoring Christopher Columbus, whose legacy is tied to colonization and violence against Indigenous peoples. Regardless of how you choose to celebrate the second Monday in October, it is all American history. It is yours to celebrate, acknowledge, or ignore. Auburn formally retired Cam Newton's number 2 jersey at halftime against number 10 Georgia on Saturday night, engraving his name and number into Jordan-Hare Stadium. Newton became the 4th player in program history to receive the honor. His number 2 joins Pat Sullivan's number 7, Terry Beasley's number 88, and Bo Jackson's number 34 as an untouchable number in Auburn football history. Newton led the Tigers to a 14-0 season in 2010, capped by an SEC championship and a 22-19 victory over Oregon in the BCS National Championship game, Auburn's most recent national title. Thank you for watching the Carolinian's digital broadcast for October 13th. We would like to give a special thank you to the Tenney Group for their donation to our foundation. Their purchase of a legacy brick allows us to hire videographers, writers, and photographers to cover living history and preserve it for future generations. As always, please like, subscribe, and follow us to stay connected on our social channels, and share our news broadcast with friends and family to keep our community growing. Be sure to pick up the latest edition of the Carolinian at your local Food Lion or news box, or purchase a $45 subscription to have the newspaper delivered directly to your home. Have an amazing week, Carolinian community.